Alright guys, and this is the finished look, and you can really use these steps and tricks with any eyeshadow palette. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, please subscribe. My channel is about all things beauty related, all kinds of makeup and beauty content. I'm a full-time nurse. This is just my hobby, and I like to give really honest, authentic opinions on makeup and make makeup tutorials. So if that interests you, be sure to subscribe. Today's video is a thorough demo instruction tutorial of the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette, and I'm going to teach you how to do a brown smoky eye. So I had a subscriber request a darker smoky eye look using this palette, and so I'm going to create an in-depth tutorial talking about the anatomy of your eye, how this might work for your eye shape, because it's very important to understand your eye shape when following tutorials. I know I also learned from YouTube how to do makeup, and it is really hard when you're following a tutorial of someone's eye shape that doesn't match yours. So I'm just going to try and talk you through and use your own landmarks to kind of create the same eye look but on your unique eye shape. So we're going to jump right in. My eyes are already primed. So this whole face makeup is going to be in a YouTube short, but it is concealer, foundation, and setting powder. My favorite eyeshadow bases, of course, the P. Louise eyeshadow base is amazing, but the one I own is super, super light, so I always like to use a concealer. I like the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I like the new Natasha Denona concealer, and the other ones I really like are Tarte Shape Tape. Tarte Shape Tape has been like my ride or die for so long. Those are really good concealers, in my opinion, to prime your eyelids. And then I always set it with a really finely milled powder, like Maybelline Fit Me. This is a really good drugstore finely milled powder. I really like Florasis powder. This is their Florasis Gorgeous Peach Blossom powder. This stuff is so good. Beauty Bakery flour powder, like one size translucent powder. So some type of finely milled translucent powder. And then you're gonna set your eyelids, and then your eyes will be ready to go. I like to set my concealer with a powder before applying eyeshadow because I just find the pigment is easier to blend. So yes. Now let's talk makeup brushes. I really like affordable brushes. I think Morphe has some great affordable brushes. I really like Sigma as well, and ColourPop. I also own some Sephora ones, but here are just a few I will be using. Also, What's Up Beauty has some really great natural hair brushes, and yeah, I will have everything linked below, but ColourPop and Morphe are my main eyeshadows, are my main brushes, but I do really like Sigma and What's Up Beauty. So we're gonna jump right in. Our eyelids are primed, and the Master Mattes palette by Mario is an absolutely amazing eyeshadow palette to have in your collection, whether you are a dramatic girl, a neutral girl. It's just such a good palette. So we're gonna do a brown smoky eye. So for starters, I always like to go in with a really good transition shade. A transition shade is the color of your skin tone, but slightly darker. So this top row is a really good transition row. However, if you have a deeper skin tone, then you might like the shades in the bottom row. So now to pick my transition shade, do I want a more yellow tone transition shade, a peachy tone, or a more neutral tone? Which actually this is pretty dark. I'm gonna go in with this yellow tone, but if you ever look at this palette and you think, I don't like what I'm seeing, you can always just go in with your bronzer. Bronzer is also a really good transition shade. It's already on your face. And my bronzer I'm wearing today is the LYS bronzer, and this is in this shade Harmony. And I actually have a 20% off coupon code. It is LYSLEXIJ. It's 20% off. It's only good till the end of January. But yes, so if you want 20% off their website, I will have that linked below. This is not sponsored or anything. It's just an affiliate link discount code. But so you could always go in with a bronzer to create that transition in your crease, and it already is going to match the bronzer on your face. So you can do that. I am going to use the palette, and I'm going to go in with that yellow tone transition shade. So for that, you're going to want a fluffy brush. This is a Sigma Fluffy blending brush, and this is a Morphe GH32 Fluffy blending brush. Anything like this, you want it to be domed. If you see the Morphe one on this side is a little bit more tapered, a little bit more of a mountain than this one, and it's just whatever you feel comfortable with. I am just going to go in with the Morphe one because I prefer this. So this is the Morphe GH32, and I'm going to take matte number 2 right here. So you're going to load up your brush pretty good, and then you're going to tap off the excess eyeshadow, and then you're just going to blend it into your crease. So where is your crease? Looking straight ahead, you are going to push your bottom of your brush. You're going to feel a bone. So looking straight ahead, top of your eyelid. So I have a space between my brow and my crease. My wife, her space here is very small. Most people, it's pretty small, which is why when I follow eyeshadow tutorials with someone who has a smaller space, I would bring mine up so high and it just wouldn't look right. So my crease is all down here. So I'm just going to blend down here. So find your crease, find that bone, find where your eye fold is, and you're going to blend back and forth. So I have a deep inner corner here. So I really naturally will try and bring this in, but I don't want this to be full of eyeshadow. So I'm just going to blend it and try my best to avoid this inner part. But if you have a different eye shape, maybe you don't have a deeper inner corner, you probably want to bring this in. And then out here, making sure you don't go too low out here in this area. It can look kind of weird. And just keeping it in and defining the crease. You want to create a shadow effect. And you want your darkest part of your crease to be in the center, and it tapered down, taper up. So that to me is enough of a transition. So I will go over to the next eye, load up my brush, tap off the excess. Again, find the crease, the fold, whether you have to do this part, find your bone, and rock back and forth. Again, trying to stay away from my deeper inner corner, but that is my eye anatomy. So just try and figure out what's going to look best for your eye shape. All right, so my crease is defined. I've blended it out up into the brow bone, and it's a very neutral, my skin tone, but slightly darker shadow of a crease. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the center, outer V, those terms. So where your iris is the color part of your eye, the pupil is the dark part, and your sclera is the white part. So for me, my outer V is going to be from my iris, the outside of my color part, to the corner of my eye. This part is my outer V. So I like to bring a shade all the way over to my pupil. I like to make this a somewhat medium brown shade, and then my outer V will be darker. So we are going to take a smaller brush because this area is a smaller space to work with, and we want to be precise. So a brush like this that is tapered by What's Up Beauty, this is a really good one because I can go like this and bring it into my pupil and keep this, and then I can rock this back and forth in my crease. So this is a good brush. Or depending on your eye shape, this is a Ariel Morphe brush, A29. It's like a flat painter's brush. You can just go in here and kind of keep it low like this and rock it back and forth in your crease. whatever you feel comfortable with. This is another brush shaped like that by Morphe. This is the Morphe M433. You can tap this in on that outer part and then rock it back and forth. So something like that. You could use a blender. You're just not going to be able to have as much control as you want. But yeah, so whatever works for you. I think I kind of mix it up. It really depends what shades I'm working with. So I've always really liked this ColourPop E16. It's just like, to me, the perfect brush to get in here, and then I'll rock it back and forth into my crease. So now I would pick a slightly darker shade than the crease shade. So I'm going to go down to this bottom row. And I've made tutorials with this palette before, and I always lean towards the red tones in this palette, but something is telling me to not do that. Not this shade, because I really don't see that I've gone in with this shade that much. This is going to be matte number 8. So I'm going to take my ColourPop E16 and tap it into matte number 8. And then tap off the excess. And I start closest to my lash line because that's where you want the darkest part to be. Oh, this shade is lovely. Okay, then I'm going to rock it around, bring it in towards my pupil. Because remember, this is going to be the medium shade, and we want to bring it in about halfway. But everything, you want it to be like a gradient effect. So you want the lightest part. You don't want it to be like super light, tons and tons of pigment. You want it to be like super light because there's no eyeshadow over here. Then you want it to fade into tons and tons of pigment. So you want all that pigment to be out here. And you want it dark at the lash line. So I'm just going to tap in between here over the middle where my pupil is. So I'm just tapping it here. Kind of like half of my eyelid's going to be covered in eyeshadow. And then I'm going to rock it into the crease because I do want this to be a well blended look. And it's just going to be like that. See how we have a darker presence now? This is going to be a darker smoky eye because that's what was requested from one of my subscribers. So this is going to be a darker look. Just a heads up. Okay. So I kind of like the way this is already looking because it's like pretty pigmented and dark. So I'm just blending this with the lightest part of the brush. So up into my crease, into that outer V, but also I'm making sure it's a gradient over my pupil here. All right, so I'm gonna go to the next eye, loading up matte number 8, tapping off the excess, and then starting by the lash line, because remember we want the darkest part to be in the outer V and it to fade over the pupil. We don't want it to be light and dark. We want it to be a gradient over the pupil. And so tapping off, but also just going in so light-handed. As you can see, I was dipping in a little bit and I wasn't tapping off. I just want it to be super light-handed. So as you can see, gradient effect over the center by the pupil. We're going to build up our outer V and we're going to blend into our crease. Just like that. Blending. I love these eyeshadows by Makeup by Mario. I think they are so pretty. So I really like the way this is looking. Okay, so I have this nice blended outer V area. Now I want to go in with a darker shade in my outer V, which is going to be iris, not pupil, where the sclera is. So iris over to the corner. For this, you would want a smaller brush. You might want a really, really fine brush. It all depends on your eye shape. This is a Morphe P9. It's a really pointed brush. You might want this Ariel A26, which is a more soft dome blender brush. Or you might want like a pencil brush by What's Up Beauty, a little pencil brush. It all kind of depends what you want about your eye shape. So for me, I think, so I mix it up myself all the time as well. I don't just stick with the same brushes. But for this one, I think I'm actually going with this more precise Morphe P9. I'm gonna go in with matte number 9, just down there. Load up my brush, tap off the excess, and I'm just gonna build it up here. Build up here. And this is where you're gonna build it up, and this is a different technique. I wasn't planning on doing this, but the shade's so dark. I'm gonna take that same brush from earlier, the E16, and then you're gonna just kind of tap and blend around that shade. Because I don't want it to be super, super dark. So there's that. Taking P9, matte number 9, tapping off the excess, and then applying that pigment where my iris is over. See how I am doing this? Just putting the pigment there, and I'm gonna blend it out. Just like that. And then if we want to get really crazy and go in with some black, we're going to go in with that darkest shade, which is 12. And this one, we're going to keep super, super low by the base. One of my subscribers asked for a dark smoky eye with this palette, so I am doing it. See how I'm just like tapping it out here, and I'm gonna blend it out with a different brush. This helps me put the shadow where I really, really want it. And this one's gonna help me blend it out. And then just tap, tap, tap. Kind of liking my left eye more than my right eye. I have heard that some of these shadows can be a little bit patchy, but sometimes they are, sometimes they're not for me. But I do really thoroughly like enjoy this palette. I think it's a great palette. And now I'm just tapping that out. So there we go. We have this nice smoky outer eyes. And if you see when I look straight ahead, do you see how it is like fanned out towards my outer V? Now we're gonna play around with some of the lighter shades. I think I'm gonna take, so I'm just gonna take a brush. You can really use your finger, something like this. This is the Morphe M433. And I'm gonna take that third lightest shade. So the matte number 3. And I want this shade to go right in here. See how I'm like looking down? Because I want it to just stay low. I don't want to mess up my crease. And I'm just going to brighten up this area. And I'm only brightening up my iris over because I will eventually drag this over, but I don't want to put too much pigment in the center. So I'm keeping it over here, and I will take the other E16 brush and blend it over. So matte number 3, just brightening up that inner corner. That ColourPop E16 brush and just tap it like that. And now you could just leave this alone and let it be, or you can smoke out your lash line. I've really been digging a smoked out lash line, and I love this Sephora brush. It's just like a brow pencil. And I'm gonna go in with that dark brown shade, which is gonna be matte number 11. Matte number 11. So I just tap it on like that. Tap off the excess, and I'm gonna line my lash line. You could honestly also like sometimes I only line into my pupil, so I keep the outer V part the darkest, like out here. But I think I am just gonna go, I don't know. I think I am just gonna line into. So now I'm just gonna try and be really precise here and just line that dark shadow on the lash line, which is gonna help your lashes look thicker. And always go with a light hand because you can always add more pigment. Light hand. Like these skinny brow brushes are just so perfect for doing this. And I think these like a good smoked lash line is just like so underrated. I love it. All right, so this again is personal preference. I like to have balance on my lower lash line. So I am going to blend out some of the shades up here onto my lower lash line. So for brushes like that, I like a brush that is like straight, fluffy, like this one, the M433, the Ariel A29. Yeah, so I'm gonna use brushes like this, and I'm gonna go in with this, what was this number? That's like matte 8, which is that darker warm shade, the Ariel A29. And I'm gonna blend that from my iris over. So outer, lower V only. Blend it here. Next eye, iris, outer V only. All right, so I'm just gonna stop right there. I like the way that looks. And you can always go with a black eyeliner, but I'm gonna go in with my Rimmel London Nude Eyeliner. I love this stuff. So good. So see how this just opens up this eye over this eye? See, makeup is not that scary. We can create looks like this. And see, it's really not that hard to create a smoky, natural. So before I apply false lashes, I go in with some mascara. This just helps your natural lashes blend into the lashes more. So I'm going to apply a coat of mascara, but I don't apply a crazy amount because then it's just going to be harder to get your lashes on around them. So just enough here where they're like covered with a little bit of mascara. I also want to talk about highlighting the brow bone and the inner corner. Alright, so the lashes are covered in mascara, so we're going to talk about highlighting. One of my favorite brushes to highlight is a small pointed brush like this or like this. I'm going to use the smaller one. So since there isn't anything super shimmery on my face or on my eyes, I am going to use a very subtle highlight. So subtle highlighters, I like the Laura Mercier 01 highlight. I've been using this for so long and it's like I barely made a dent in this and I just love this highlight. It's a little pricey. And I also like Hourglass's ambient lighting powder, so one of these. I think I'm gonna go with the ambient light. So I'm going to take this golder shade up here, which is taking the finishing powder diffused light, and I'm going to touch that here in my inner corner just to give a really subtle highlight. And I'm going to go over to this side. And slightly under the brow bone, just under my arch only, and I want to be very subtle. And if you ever feel like you kind of took off some shadow, the first brush we went in with, I'm just going to take that and blend it up. Kind of like blend out the highlight so it's not too dramatic. All right, so now it's time for false lashes. So I recently switched lash glues. I used to use the Kiss Lash. This is really, really good. But I just found that it sticks on my lashes too much. So I have this Duo lash glue. Let's see, Duo Clear Lash Glue. So I like to use Ardell. Ardell lashes, Kiss lashes, they're kind of my go-to lashes. And they're kind of like my go-to lashes. And so these are the these are the Ardell Wispies. I do like the Demi Wispies, but I literally cannot find them. I don't know where they're at. But Wispies are really nice too. So I'm going to go with these. I personally like a clear small lash band. I feel like they're the easiest to work for me. They feel the lightest on my eyes. So those are the ones I usually order, and I order mine from like Amazon, Target, Ulta. So here is the hard part. This is like doing literal surgery. So I like to use a pair of tweezers. That's how I apply my lashes. And I like to make sure there's no glue on them because I will place them and then I will go in and I will squeeze them to my lash base. So these are just some Revlon tweezers. I have my wispy lashes and I have my lash glue. So I will remove the lash from the pack. I will like pull down like this. But be very gentle. So here is my lash. Then I will take off if there's any lash stickies, which this one had no lash stickies, which is just amazing. All right, so this is my left eye. You can see that the shorter end here is gonna go here and the outer bigger part is gonna go out there. So these actually fit my natural line, my natural lash pretty well. Like, look at that. I don't have to trim mine. But if you do have to trim it, you're gonna trim from the outside because this part is the most natural tapered part. You're gonna trim it out here from the outer fluffiest part, not the inner corner. So I don't have to trim mine, but you might have to trim yours. And I'm gonna take the lash and I kind of just bend it. I want it to have that natural curve. That makes it the easiest when you apply it directly on your eye. So I'm gonna take my lash glue. I apply a pretty generous amount. So you're just gonna apply it on the strip like that. And I apply a pretty good amount to my inner corner because that's always the part that sticks off of my eye the most. So I'm going to show you here how much I apply because it's a pretty good amount. Whoops. That was too much. So something like that. And you're going to let this dry. I don't even know how long usually I let it dry. I mean, that's not very educational, but I just kind of keep looking at it and I'm like, okay, is it good now? Is it not? Because sometimes I've waited too long. Sometimes I haven't waited enough. So I just kind of, I don't know, give it a few seconds to get a little bit tacky because you're going to apply the center part first. I don't know how good I'm gonna be at filming this because I usually don't ever film this because it's literally like doing surgery and I'm just like so focused. I just kind of look at it and you're gonna look and see like how much of the glue has dried up, disappeared. And sometimes when it's drying too, you might want to play with the shape and put it back into that shape. I just hold the ends and go like this. So now I have that nice shape and I'm literally going to take the tweezers that are away from the band like this and I am just going to set it on my eye. And I can't talk while I'm doing this because I'm going to be way focused. And then I'm going to go along the band and push it on. Go along the band. You'll be able to feel it too, like on your eye. So now I'm going to take the tweezers, make sure there's no glue on them because they will rip your lashes off when you do this part. And I'm going to go along and just pinch. Be very careful because this can hurt too if you get way too close to your natural lashes. And I'm just going to pinch them. You know what's crazy? I made that look easy, and it's never that easy. I just want you to know that you will struggle, and that's normal. But I just made it look way too easy, and it's never that easy for me. Like my eye is watering. And I just pinched my natural lashes and I did that. But it's not that easy. I don't know what happened there. I just got lucky, I guess, because I'm filming. But really, just make sure you're calm when you do this. Like, tell yourself, like, you're gonna get the lashes on. It's gonna be fine. I can't tell you how many times in college, for some reason, I just couldn't literally do it. Like, I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't calm down. I was, like, stressing myself out. Just couldn't do it. But I think I've just done it so many times now that I have, like, I don't know. Practice makes perfect. So literally, like, feels like you're doing surgery, though. So this eye looks great and it's on. And I'm gonna do the second eye, but I can't do that on camera. Like this was too much for me. So I'll be back. All right, so now lashes are on and they're dried. You'll kind of notice that the glue looks kind of blue and then it'll be like gone. So the lashes are on. And to finish this look, we're gonna apply a bottom lash mascara, which you're gonna look like a crazy person, but I like to bend down like this and then apply it. And stay away from your eyeliner. And sometimes you have to wiggle the mascara wand. And I try and make sure my lashes match on the bottom. That some of them aren't more defined than others. And you might have to go in and like touch your lashes to match with some mascara, but mine match pretty well, so I'm not gonna do that. All right guys, so this is the finished look and these are really simple steps that you can do with any eyeshadow palette. All right guys, this is the final look. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you in my next video.